time we will look at lists. We're looking at lists and lists and lists, I know, but let's make this now a little bit more comprehensive. This time we will start with making lists more interesting, and let's just run this block and examine what happens. Here we have a list, a code block which says, it says 1, the first member, which is numeric, the second is a string, and then we have a dictionary, right? So let's just quickly run this and see the output. Here we have got the list which is printed out, which is essentially this, right? No green shakes. Now the second one adds something called last man and then prints that out. So I added something here by using the list.append command. Makes sense, right? So you added something. So to tell you what I'm essentially telling you is that lists are dynamic and can be changed as you run the code. Let's say a new student gets added to the class, and you can just simply append that student to the class. A list for the class, actually. And coming back, and what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to replace an element in the class in that particular list. So that 1, which was here, got replaced with a string 2. Note the quotation around it. Right? So the representation now changed from a numeric to a string. Python is quite flexible that way. It can be challenges at times, but generally speaking, there is a lot of flexibility that's given to you. It makes your life a lot easier. Still, your project is still the project. It will come with its own challenges, but Python does try to make things a little easier. So now that we have looked at how we can add something to the list or append to it, let's just go back and look at the condition. I'll check for a certain value in the list. So yes, we got this comp list which we carried forward from here, and what we said is if John is in this list somewhere, print out found on the screen, else print out not found. Right? It says found. Then it told you this. We'll come to this in a bit. And then let's just make this John 1, which means it should print not found this time. So because this was John 1 is not John, and it says that, right? It says it was not found. Now coming back to the comp list, I asked for something called type. Now there are data types which are internally managed by Python. Even though you could change 1 to 2 from a numeric to a string, there still are data types. And to explain that, look at this comp list. The comp list contains, what is comp list? Comp list is a list, right? So it says, what is the type for comp list? It says it's a list. Obvious, right? Now what is comp list of 2? 0, 1, 2, it's a dictionary, right? So it's a dict. That's how it internally represents. And finally, let's look at this particular name part alone. Can you tell me the second part of this list, which is this particular dictionary? Of that, I need the name. Name is Jose, and it said Jose was a string. From where I come, JOSE is pronounced as Jose, but in other parts it's pronounced as Jose. So let's stick with its original pronunciation. Coming back to the now let's make more. Let's get deeper into the process of understanding lists. So again, it printed out here, which the first line is sort of obvious, right? So as we run it, it just prints out that list. Remember, I didn't define the variable comp list here because I just because I ran this, Python now knows there's a variable here. These are different blocks, but so a variable defined in one block is now accessible in another block. Please keep that in mind. if you modify the variable defined in another block, in one of the consequent blocks, you will overwrite the value. That can be your intent, well and good. So again, I said comp list of 1. So what it does is comp list of 1, like we did before. It was a particular part, just John or John 1 in this case. So it was John 1 because we updated that to John 1. And then here I've added a specific notation. Note, this is different from 1. I said 1 colon. That means everything from 1. So it does not take this, which is at index 0, and prints the rest, just comp list, right? And then I want to go from this side, right? So it says -1. So -1 is saying I'm going to the opposite side. I used a negative index, and it is on the other side of the colon. So from the end, take -1, skip this, and give me the rest. And there you go. So you'll know that the lists are done many times, can be accessed in many ways. They are dynamic data types, do exist, but they are within the scope of Python. Without complicating it, Python that really doesn't matter to Python what is the type of a given variable, as you can see here. And we are sort of refreshed on if with an if and else, right? So I hope this is useful, and if you like this and if you want to add a specific direction to what other things you want to add, or something that you'd like to see on the coming series, do let me know. Thank you. If you like, please share and subscribe. Thanks again.